வரேண்ட ரேஸ் டிஎன்பிஎஸ்சி தேர்வர்களுக்கான பிரத்யேக வகுப்புகள் ஆரம்பம்.
உலக முதலீட்டாளர்கள் மாநாட்டில் ரிசர்வ் வங்கியின் முன்னாள் ஆளுநர் ரகுராம் ராஜன் பேசி வருகிறார். பார்க்கலாம்.
Relative to some other countries, so we need to do better. We need to do more. I think focus on the basics because I think you can only bribe manufacturers to come in through special subsidies and special tax dispensations only for a little while. What you need to do is get them to come in because it's a better environment to do business here. You have better logistics. So we're working on the logistics. There's a lot of work being done on improving logistics. But workforce, make them come here because they want the workforce. So that's one example that we saw this morning. A lot of talk about Tamil Nadu's workforce being something that is more attractive, especially because more women are participating. And in some industries, employers look for women to come in there. So those are areas that I think I would focus on. Can we make it more attractive without going overboard on subsidies and lower taxes?
You have Vietnam.
Vietnam has an advantage. It's part of all the regional trade agreements. We are not. And so if you want to produce back and forth within the region, it's easier to be in Vietnam than in India. We need to address some of those issues.
So what would you have done differently if you were in the RBI space? What would you have done differently as an RBI governor in the last 3 years?
So I don't comment on RBI policy. Sorry.
He has a flight to catch. One or two questions.
One more thing is despite
last two questions.
Okay, despite you
Last two questions.
Tamil Nadu government providing a lot of free scheme like free bus for women and providing a lot of free scheme. It will affect the Indian Tamil Nadu economy. What do you think about it?
See, you have to evaluate each scheme on what it's trying to do and whether it has overall benefits which outweigh the costs. For example, when you offer free transport to women, one of the biggest problems is we have a very low female labor force participation. Very few women relative to men are working. So if you want to get women to work, one thing to ensure is that they have safe transport. And if making transport free gets more women to work, you get some compensation because those working women will earn wages, pay taxes, and that will help somewhat. It is also socially beneficial to get more women to work. So you have to evaluate these schemes on an overall basis. I think that's the way to look at it rather than individually, is this necessarily good or bad?
Despite the popularity of UPI...
Sorry. Last.
We are projecting a growth of 7.3%. Forex is like highest ever. GDP
Highest ever where?
like it was, and it is almost like another concern.
In India? For the
Forex reserves.
Forex reserves. I'm sorry.
And the inflation is almost under control, about like upon. So what future of the economy? Also, do you think that benchmark of that 4% to 6%, is that the right benchmark or
4%, 6% benchmark?
The RBI
of
CPI band.
The inflation target.
Yeah.
See, I don't comment on RBI as far as I can because I set that target. So I don't disagree with it because the idea behind the 4% was that inflation abroad would be about 2%. And our real exchange rate appreciation over time because of productivity growth would be another 2%. Add those two together, if we have 4% inflation, we will probably at that point have a stable exchange rate. A lot of people get very worried if they see the Indian rupee depreciating against the dollar. At about 4% inflation, we should have a relative...
உலக முதலீட்டாளர்கள் மாநாட்டில் ரிசர்வ் வங்கியின் முன்னாள் ஆளுநர் ரகுராம் ராஜன் பேசியதை பார்த்தோம். தமிழகத்தில் தொழில் தொடங்க சாதகமான சூழல் ஏன் நிலவுகிறது என்பது குறித்து அவர் விரிவாக பேசியிருக்கிறார். குறிப்பாக மகளிர் பேருந்து இலவச பயணம், அதேபோல திறன் வாய்ந்த தொழிலாளர்களை தமிழகம் கொண்டிருப்பது போன்ற பல்வேறு விஷயங்களை அவர் குறிப்பிட்டு பேசியிருக்கிறார். ரிசர்வ் வங்கி குறித்த கேள்வியையும் அவர் தவிர்த்திருக்கிறார். இதுகுறித்து விரிவாக பின்னர் வரும் செய்திகளில் பார்க்கலாம்.
வரேண்ட ரேஸ் டிஎன்பிஎஸ்சி தேர்வர்களுக்கான பிரத்யோக வகுப்புகள் ஆரம்பம்.